This is a photo comparison that was published in a forum, and someone comments that Ronnie is a bit bigger, Arnold is so much better, which relates to quality over quantity, suggesting that Coleman was bigger in some ways in the photo, but that didn't matter because of Schwarzenegger's quality. And someone asked the person that commented regarding Coleman being a bit bigger but Arnold being so much better. That person said, "Care to explain why?" Then someone else chimed in and said, "That's easy. In this pose, Arnold has a smaller waist, a thicker chest, better taper, and a lot more separations in his quads, better arms," although some might disagree with that. But look at the triceps development. Arnold takes that one. They both have great biceps, although I prefer Arnold's and better calves. If you look at the thighs in general, Ronnie Coleman has more developed adductor muscles, the inner thigh muscles, but it's to what end? I mean, if you look at the quads, the muscle shape on Schwarzenegger is much better. The muscles go all the way up to the hip, the quadricep muscles, and they're much more pronounced. The quadricep muscles that are the highest, the rectus femoris muscles, showing a lot more detail on Arnold, whereas on Coleman they kind of blur together. People are kind of getting used to bodybuilders having big guts and giant, ridiculous looking thighs, but if you could look outside of bodybuilding, what Coleman displays thigh-wise looks ridiculous. If you develop a body part too much, it starts paralleling fat development. It just looks like a big blob, just big giant thighs, like a fat person's thighs. And if you're going to have thighs that big, you'd have to balance it off with calves development that's on that same level. And I mean, how big would your calves have to be to match 32-inch thighs? And Coleman doesn't have control of the stomach. Schwarzenegger probably has a wider natural stomach than Coleman does, but Coleman's abdominal development and his lack of muscle control in the abdominal area makes it look like he has a larger stomach than Schwarzenegger. Just at a glimpse of the photograph, you would say that Coleman weighs more, but to what end? So what? A fat person weighs more. And the showcase muscles of the arms look similar. In fact, Arnold's looks like he might have bigger biceps and triceps, even though I've seen on different photographs where Coleman's look spectacular. Forget the sport of bodybuilding, just in general, it's not just a matter of making each body part as big as possible, but also making a conscious decision, even though you have potential to make your thighs 10 inches bigger, not to do it because it won't look as good. And you can add, an additional 10 pounds to your body weight by having tremendous oblique developments and having your stomach stick out another 2 inches in front, like a muscular pot belly. But no one's going to judge you by your body weight and make those calculations in their mind that, oh, well, that's really muscle, even though it kind of has a fat look to it because the stomach bulges out. And in the thighs chafe together and stick out. That's really muscle. Oh, I'm supposed to think this way. People just have visceral, instinctive reactions to it. And it doesn't matter that Joe Weider created a sport where you're supposed to think this way. Just on an automatic level, Schwarzenegger looks better in that photograph, even though that's 20 years later, and Coleman has beaten Schwarzenegger's record. 8 wins versus 7 wins. Not that Arnold Schwarzenegger couldn't have gone on to additional wins after retirement. He could have beaten Columbo in 76 and Zane in 77, 78, and 79. That would have given Schwarzenegger 11 wins. And it's not that Coleman doesn't have tremendous potential, or it wasn't the best for 8 years straight. Maybe this isn't the best photo. There are photos that Coleman looks a lot better. And maybe within the rules of bodybuilding, you have to comply to get this trophy you want or a title a person wants. But that's not really a crossover into the real world. What might be good for a bodybuilding win might look stupid in real life. And that's why the bodybuilding federations have created new divisions where they limit body weight. So then you have to be more creative on how you use those pounds. So if the limit for a tall person is 230 pounds, you got to think, well, do I want some of these pounds on my thighs or on my calves? Do I want all these pounds on my waist? I mean, because I got an additional 10 pounds of abdominal and oblique muscles, but then this other person's next to me has bigger arms. Well, I better trim down my waist and develop my arms. So what do you think? Does Schwarzenegger look better than Coleman's in this photograph?